Sonia, Little Hot question? 7 yes, 1 not voting.
7 yes, 1 not voting, motion passed. And then now we have a motion to approve the minutes. Is there a second?
With that correction, I'll put it in.
Okay.
This was
Motion by Norman. Second by George.
Dave Kelly,
Yes.
Lyle Weston,
Yes.
Craig Dillon,
Yes.
George Streeter Jr.,
Yes.
Norman Standing Soldier,
Yes.
Jackie Sears, Sonia, Little Hot question. 7 yes, 1 not voting.
7 yes, 1 not voting, motion passed. All right, moving on to the next item. Number 3, Great Plains Regional Acting Director. I believe he can still be with the president. Yeah. While we're waiting with, for the director.
Can you check on in the president's office? You're making that way here? The acting director?
We'll address the location of the working session. That's number 12. I was not aware, I did not read the group chat for EB&D regarding the 24th. Do we want to collaborate with EB&D as well? We did request the 25th and 26th. Lynn was looking into the Doubletree Hotel and then the Hilton Hotel for the meetings,
Or the box out
for the box out.
event center, but Doubletree don't have, they had dates for this weekend, but we canceled that, and then they don't have openings for the new dates. Nothing open there, so we are looking into
That's me.
somewhere else.
But I guess it's going to, I don't know, that those marijuana working sessions are kind of long, and so it would take up most of our day. I think they should have it separate. I
Okay,
think maybe James could, you could work with James on that, but I think ours should be just finance,
okay,
because we have that finance, the financial management manual and other things that would take up time, yeah. So I think maybe they should have theirs separate.
okay.
Okay.
So those are the areas that we're looking at. Go ahead, Norman.
So we actually should look at what marijuana is requiring of us. The only thing they want to do is pass their new ordinance. That can be done at an ED&D meeting on Friday, prior to our council meeting, so we could just run it through. These working sessions in Rapid do not need to happen. We can have them here, just pass that ordinance, get it in front of council, pass it, and they're good to go. Then after that, we don't need no more working sessions because they'll be on their own and they'll be doing what they're doing. I think that's the quickest way to get them operating.
Okay, regarding the working session, I think we've all been waiting on the financial management to be completed.
No, that's fine.
Oh, okay.
That's fine. I'm talking about marijuana.
Oh, yeah.
Their ordinance is ready to go.
Yeah, I think we just keep stopping it. So, does that suffice, number 12? And we'll have more to follow. Okay, so the regional director is next door. That may, I don't believe it'll be lengthy, but we can address it. And waiting on Cora to discuss these financial assistance requests.
She's on Zoom.
I'm on. Oh, there you are. Okay, while we wait for the regional director, we're going to move on to the financial assistance request. Cora, there's item number 9, 39th annual Oglala Nation Golf Tournament request. Yummy Jack. So the committee would need to discuss approving it, how much they're gonna approve and where does the funding come from? Is there anywhere the council can find funding?
Find funding. I think that, you need to figure out how much funding is available for the powwow specifically. Powwow and rodeo, how much money they've raised first, before we go to these requests,
Okay,
right?
right. So the powwow is on the agenda. So we'll pause and wait for the director to come in because next would be the powwow, discussion of the powwow, and that'll be pretty lengthy. Also, we added school closed discussion assistance and the emergency shelter. School closed assistance, I believe, was $1.3 million last year. Am I correct, or?
I can't remember exactly, but I can go back and check. I think it was actually like 1.6.
Okay,
But on the emergency youth shelter, that's a 638 program.
right.
Is there any money left in the ATG budget to assist them?
That'll be a good question when the
Chief of Staff.
chief of staff and director get here. George, do you want to speak on the school close?
Oh, let's just wait on it.
Okay,
We're no rush to get it done.
okay. And assistance? Is there,
Assistance for council?
yes,
Okay, Chad messaged me last night and right now we have available to draw down 288,000. So, if you guys want to do a partial assistance thing, because our donation account, after I said that yesterday, we're down to $300. So that's going to be depleted probably today.
Twitter.
So if you want to do assistance, then go ahead and do it, and I'll draw that money down from the tax revenue to cover that.
Okay,
Because
so,
if you're thinking 5,000 times 21 is what? 105,000?
okay, so with that being said, you know, I'm getting calls with light bills. Our people still need help out there. Not everybody has a job. We don't have no jobs
Right.
for everybody across the reservation to be working. So our people
Yeah.
do need help, and it's been a long time since we helped them. So I'll make that motion for 5,000. If it fails, we'll see where it goes from there, so.
And can you state from where?
So Cora just stated it from the revenue. Was it Cora?
Yeah, it's the sales tax revenue. The return from the bond, it's the bond surplus.
Okay, so we have a motion to draw down $105,000 to give each council representative $5,000 to utilize for assistance from the sales tax revenue, the bond surplus.
Right, and now it doesn't take council action for those drawdowns, I can just draw it down.
The total amount being $105,000. So I have a motion and a second, and go ahead, Norman.
Just a question, Cora,
Yeah,
that money you're drawing down, where else would it be used for if it is available for assistance?
it actually goes into general fund.
So it wasn't earmarked for any specific reason?
Well, the general fund budget, that's part of the, whenever I do, I look at the revenue from the year before, I see how much money we got last year, and that's how we get the amount for the budget. So it was going to go into the budget anyway, but if you remember last year, you guys did a lot of assistance.
So would you say we're not hurting the budget if by doing this?
No, No,
Okay, thank you.
Go ahead, Ryan.
because we were actually saving money on the budget with the cuts that we made, even with the new programs of the youth committee and, well, the youth committee won't be under there, but of the veterans committee and whatever else. We are actually saving money this year, but we're building it back up again through our expenditures.
Go ahead, Ryan.
Cora, and it's just, I don't know if this is for Cora, but for the committee, how does that look if we don't have money for the youth shelter or the powwow or school clothes, but yet we have money to give ourselves assistance? And I know the people need it, but how does that look? I mean, it don't look good right now. Although, like George said, if people have been calling us with their lights shut off, they do need that help, but I just don't, 105,000 is a lot of money. You know, I don't know, I don't look good right now.
I have Dave. Oh, were you done, Ryan?
Yeah.
Dave, then Jackie.
You know, I just wanted to mention, we had to extend a payment out on a loan that's been with us for well over 40-some years. And I wanna see us get that thing off our back, so why couldn't we just apply that money to the FSA loan? And you know, in the future, you know, that money could come back as a positive at some point. The other thing is, you know, we have a major housing shortage. We got FEMA over here looking at Oglala. I think there's other ways we can expend that money that'll still benefit people. I seen the post where we have another 61 jobs advertised also. So there's jobs available. I just think we can use that money in a better way.
Jackie and then Sonia.
I'm gonna pass on this one.
Go, Sonia.
You know, I think that we also need to remember that we have 50-something programs that are supposed to provide services to our people. And that's a big concern of mine. You know, what are they doing? You know, the chief of staff is here and she wants to make a report on things, which I think we need to hear. You know, they get mad at us for using our people's enrollment, our data, all that, writing grants to bring in services. And I'm not gonna sit there and be guilty about what is happening with our people. You know, I know that our people are having hard times, but just because we're council don't mean that we're not having hard times either. So I'm not gonna be used to feel guilty about anything because I help a lot. I think my colleague here and I do a lot for our people. We help them as much as we can. We've amended our travel budget just to help our people. That's what a lot of us have been doing in the circle. And I want the Oyata to hear that. So I'm not going to be used to feel guilty about because we can't give school assistance. You know, we've been helping a lot of our tribal members across the reservation. A lot of this is not a responsibility of the tribal council. You know, we need to think about that, come back to our own people. So today, I just want to say that today because, you know, just because it's on Facebook and it's out there and boy, that's bashing us really bad, you know, that's all right. You know, Councilman Kelly just said there's 60-something jobs out there vacant. Well, you know, by God, let's put in from, you know, let's just not sit back and expect the tribe to do everything, because we can only do so much as council. And I'm going to say, you know, today that I'm not going to be held accountable for that. You know, we all have families and we take care of our families as much as we can. So today, I want to say that we have programs out there that can service the people. The other thing, we got people on this agenda today for assistance to help with certain things, and we're gonna have to make decisions on that too. And I don't think that we should stop everything just because of all of this being said out there. You know, we still have to run business, and we still have to take care of things, so I'm not gonna let that make me feel guilty about that. You know, I care about my people, I care about the Oyate, and I've showed it for going on 18 years serving on this tribal council. So I'm not gonna be used in that manner. Thank you.
Thank you. Before I call on you, George, I just want to keep the committee and refresh the committee on the Powell committee will be requesting $236,000. Also keep in mind that we still have not identified where we're going to pay back $146,000 that was absorbed from the VA. So those are still some areas that we have not made up for, and also identifying funding for emergency shelter. George and Norman.
Thank you, Chair. You know, I have a heart. You know, there's families, no electricity, the food's going bad. And they got 61 jobs. They brought down their 30,000 membership that don't have a job. Not everybody has a job here. 61 ain't gonna cover the whole reservation. So I do have a heart. And it don't hurt to help people every now and then. Like we said, this is the people's money. People, we're here by the people put us here for them reasons. And like I'm gonna say it again, I do have a heart for our people out there who are struggling. Maybe some districts don't struggle, but I know ours does. We have a lot of membership. So we'll throw that out there. Thank you.
Go ahead, Norman.
Just a comment that concerns the listening, as well as us sitting here, as well as the people in the gallery, that public opinion does matter. But where that public opinion comes from, if you're getting it off Facebook, that's written by one person, his own opinion, or her own opinion. And what they say is usually not 100% correct. Everybody that wants an opinion to tribal council, I'm sure has their cell phone number and can call tribal council and find out where they stand on issues. Get with your councilmen. Tell them what you need. Tell them what your opinion is. Tell them you want school closed. Tell them you want a powwow. Tell them you need help in certain areas. It doesn't fall on deaf ears. We're willing to go that extra mile. But when Facebook says we're doing this, that, or whatever, and you believe them, shame on you. You're listening to a program that probably isn't even written by a Lakota. It's probably someone out there who's got a hold of that and is stirring the pot for the Lakota Nation, because that's what it looks like. That's what the Washichu did. They created division. So my only comment is, use your councilmen, call them, visit with them, tell them exactly what you need, and then we'll get a handle on things. These problems we have right now can be resolved. We don't have to turn them into a big old mountain. We can resolve them by working together, and I use that with extra emphasis, working together. That means our people as well as council. We're here because of the people. We're not here because except for me and Craig, we got in here free of charge. But other than that, you know, this doesn't have to turn into a battle. It never did. But Facebook made it that battle. Facebook determined the answers on this reservation. So thank you.
Thank you. And with that, we do have a motion and a second. Please, a motion.
Approving $105,000 total from the sales tax revenue bond to be utilized or to be paid out to each tribal council rep assistance line item in the amount of $5,000 each for assistance to community/district members.
Bond surplus.
On surplus.
Yeah.
Okay. And then I vote.
Okay. Dave Kelly,
No.
Lyle Weston,
Yes.
Craig Dillon,
Yes.
George Schumer Jr.,
Yes.
Norman Standing Soldier,
Yes.
Jackie Sears. I can hear. Let's see. Blaine Little Thunder,
Yes.
Sonia Little Hawk Weston, Ryan Jumping Eagle,
Yes.
8 yes, 1 no, 1 not voting.
8 yes, 1 no, 1 not voting, motion passed. Okay, so we do have DIA present.
On my desk? Yeah, I have it.
Can you mute yourself?
Okay, if you get that voucher, they want you to start, what did it say, calculate?
President's office is shut down.
Okay, so I'll ask Mr. Hart to come forward and introduce yourself. And I first want to say thank you for coming down and introducing yourself. And welcome to the Oglala Sioux tribe. And I hope that we can move forward in a good way.
Sure.
Just push the button on. There you go.
Good morning, committee and administration of the committee. My name is Raymond Hart, and I am the acting regional director for 120 days. The regional director was detailed to central office. So I'll be in the active capacity until then. I'm also a member of the Northern Cheyenne Tribe. I was the deputy superintendent here in 2021 for 13 months, I believe. But so received an email from the committee requesting my presence down here at the committee. So I'm here to respond to questions, and hopefully we can move forward, like you said, in a good way. And my hopes during my tenure as the acting is to work with tribes and to have that face-to-face communication, if all possible, instead of on Zoom or whatever. But, yeah.
Okay, well, thank you. I will start it out and then we'll open it up to the floor.
Sure.
So we requested today, we were dealing with some emergency management issues. However, our emergency management director could not be present today, but we will certainly follow up on that. And our second request is the end-of-year one-time funding that we had requested to be applied to our 2024 single audit funding. And now what we're requesting, because our 2024 will be complete and the funding was not utilized for that, is that we can get an amendment to that 1 year one-time funding, end-of-year one-time funding, to be utilized to the 2025 single audit. I believe that in our request that can be done. The funding is still there, and it is an amendment. And I know with the government, amendments are constant and are allowed. So that's what we're requesting at this point, just to get caught up. It does help us to remove us from the sanctions. We are aware of the corrective action plans, and we have been making efforts to follow those guidelines. So I believe we're doing our part in ensuring that we're supporting the requirements from the BIA, from the big government, but we're asking for your support in making that amendment.
Okay. I'm just getting familiar with the case and what's going on with your single year audits, and based on the contract and the scope of work, it was stated that you guys were going to hire an additional firm, correct? That way you guys could do 2-year audits at the same time?
Correct.
And so your request is to not hire the additional audit firm? Is that
No, our request is to utilize that funding for our 2025 audit.
925 audit, okay. But hiring according to your scope of work, that
It
you were
was to
gonna
run simultaneously.
say yes, I'm okay. Yeah.
How many?
And so I have, I'll call on Cora, Norman,
Chief, go first.
Sonia.
Quit calling Cora.
Okay.
Our original plan was to do 20, 21, 22, 23, and then do 24 and 25 at the same time. So that's exactly what we're doing. We should be finished with our cash accounts by Friday, and then we're going to start for 24, and then we're going to start the cash accounts for 25 next week.
Okay,
While
so-
they're pulling samples to send to the auditors. The firm set team, one to work on 24 and one to work on 25.
Okay, so you want to do 24 and 25 simultaneously with two different firms.
Yeah, yeah,
Is that correct?
right.
Okay. So that,
It's the same firm, but two different audit teams.
so according to the scope of work, you were gonna hire an additional firm, not the one that you're, yeah, so that was the agreement that was signed in the resolution, and
Right. Correct.
and that's what I'm supporting, is the two additional firms, or the additional firm.
Right. So when we did our RFPs, or we submitted, or we pushed out our RFPs, we were not taking anybody. No, we didn't have anyone applying. So with time running out is why we requested the audit, or the amendment to the funding.
For the additional funding?
Yeah. So we did submit push out our RFPs in October, and I wish our property management supply director were here, so he can explain that. So that has been advertised. We're just not getting anyone to apply. Whitley did apply.
It was put out 2 times.
So was
In
it,
October and December, and we didn't get any applicants until like March.
so was it put out locally, or was it hired
It
national,
was nationwide.
and you put it out twice?
Correct. And
Yeah.
in the meantime, I will get our property director here.
I think he's at Sundance.
That's right. Go ahead, Sonia.
You know, I think that the original plan was, first of all, good morning and thank you for coming today. Just want to welcome you. You know, hope that we can continue a working relationship with you and down the road here, because we do have concerns. And I think the original plan was to do exactly what you just mentioned on the letter, and the resolution that we passed was to do together simultaneously audit, to do our 24 audit.
But two different firms?
Two different firms.
And that's what I'm
That-
supporting right now.
Yeah, the 200,000 that we requested for was to do that. And then, I hate to say this, but we didn't follow that plan. It changed, just like the treasurer just mentioned, this is the way they're doing it. And so we have concerns because we don't want to turn back that 200,000 back to BIA when we could have used it. So we could have been finished with our audits today. Because we made probably about 3 trips to Washington DC because we had one of our programs that got shut down. Employees were riffed, and we were not happy about that. But because of our audits, they will not draw down their funds because of the tribe's
The
audit sanctions. And so Councilwoman Sears and I have been to DC numerous times to discuss with Mark Cruz and others with our delegation concerning that program. But now today, you know, you hear our treasurer, what she's saying, but that was not our original plan. Our plan by the finance committee and the council that passed that resolution, that's the plan we want to follow, the 200,000. We don't want to turn the $200,000 back, and I think the finance chair is saying, well, we want to appeal it. Could we appeal it? Could we look at how we could use that $200,000 maybe for something else? So we recommended maybe, because we looked at the list that came from DIA of all the programs that requested for funds, at the end of the year. And, but yet it was denied. It was just, couldn't do it. They sent a letter to the president. And so, we had one on there. It was a CPA to help our tribe, to do the, whatever needed to get done up here with the record keeping and whatever else that needed to happen, because our audits, we did have some findings, not a whole lot of findings, but repeat findings. So how could we help with that? If we brought in somebody that could help with that, then we should be open to it. As a tribal council, we see these things. And we're not here to fight BIA. Some of us in this circle are not here to fight BIA. We're here to have an open mind and to better our tribe financially. And that's where some of us are coming from. So today we need to tell you that coming from us as finance committee, this is what we would like to have done. But it did not happen to do that. The 200,000, we don't want to turn it back, but, we want to use it exactly for what we said. Because the resolution is still there. And how could we not have followed that? That was council action.
Right.
And so, I don't want to hear that the no rebuttal back or anything, but this is coming from the finance committee. It went out to council and council passed it. So we should not have said, well, that's not, we're not going to do that. We'll just go this other way and do this audit, use the same audit, which is weekly. So again, that's coming from myself, what I know, the rest can speak to that, but that's kind of what our plan was originally. Thank you.
Great, so I have Madam Vice President, and I just want to echo what our property director did state, that we did put the RPs out, but we can't make somebody apply. So if they didn't apply, I'm not sure what, go ahead.
Thank you, Madam Chair. So similar to what Madam Chair just said, we do have internal controls, and that's what we have to follow our processes. So we did follow that process, so I know what the resolution says, but we're trying to move forward, and like our treasurer said, it is a different auditing firm, so we really appreciate the support on this, because we are trying to get these audits done. The sanctions aren't helping us, and those were, I know what the 25 CFR says, also it's discretionary, and we were put on sanction, and so we're trying to actively do our corrective action plan, and this is a part of it. So I just want to emphasize, we do have internal controls, and we did follow those processes. And so we would like to move forward using this 200,000 to use this auditing firm with a separate auditor. So, we can get into semantics and pick it apart, but this is going to help us move forward. And we did follow our internal controls, which is what we're held to do, so that we follow our processes. So thank you, sir.
Good.
Were you going to respond to that?
Yeah.
So, good morning, Council. This is Valentina Merianian, Self-Determination Specialist, Primage Agency. What I want to convey to committee as well as to everybody else who's online is that there was a contract that came as a result of the request from the resolution. The contract stipulated a scope of work, budget justification along with the budget. In the scope of work, it stipulates its correlation to the corrective action plan. Therefore, the 24 audit was supposed to be run in conjunction with 23, and the reason is because of the corrective action plan. The corrective action plan states that the 24 audit should have been submitted to the clearinghouse by April of 2026. So, the money was released to tribal government on 9/11/25, and that was to get moving forward and hiring and RFPing, following the tribe's internal processes. Of course, we respect that. And so in regards to the scope of work, I can clearly stipulate in there what it anticipates in bringing the audits current, and that the tribal financial department has prioritized that, and that at least 2 concurrent audits being completed by the end of the fiscal year of '25. And it stipulates within that, that the management process, the RFP for a second auditing firm to be contracted, completed by FY24 single audit report. So a second auditing firm clearly states that within the scope of work and within the contract, which was agreed upon by the tribes. Your president signed off on that, and if you look at the contract, you'll see that all of these are stipulated within the scope of work and the budget justification. We're only going off of what you requested, what you agreed to. We're not trying to add anything, or we're not trying to take away anything. The recommendation that we have for the tribe to still follow suit with the contract that was agreed upon is hire that additional auditing firm for '24, use the funds that you did, go ahead and budget for '25, and use the budgeted funds that you have for '25 for Whitley. And the reason it was stated as an additional auditing firm is because you had already an engagement letter with Whitley. That was part of the discussions that we had with you. Do you remember that? There was a discussion that you had an agreement, an engagement letter with Whitley for your '23. So that's why we said, okay, we'll help you with '24. And then you guys would have been off of sanctions. So that's the history behind it. That's the scope of work. Everything that's in regards to the contract was based upon that requested resolution. Thank you.
So I do have a list, and just real quick, Ms. Valentina, I think what's not being understood is the RFP, the request for bids were submitted, but there was nobody applying, and that's the issue we're having, is that nobody is applying. I just want to make that clear. Anna, Alicia, and then Jackie.
Thank you. During this time, I just asked our Secretary Lynn to search up some motions that we made in regards to the getting this bid out, or getting it RFP'd out, because that was just recently that Property and Supply did that nationwide. And we had asked before Property and Supply Director to RFP out this different auditing firm, because that was our what we wanted as a tribe, just so there was transparency and accountability within these 2 audits, and also to more importantly to catch up on our audits. And so we were off those sanctions, and we were off of those so we could come back together as a tribe to be in good standing. And we appreciate that BIA did give that funding. When we asked Property and Supply where they RFP'd out these, the process for requests for proposals, we didn't get any word back. And so, for us to do it nationwide, I believe he had to purchase a $300 into a system that does it nationwide. And so that wasn't just until recently, but just to ensure that we had proper internal control procedures. The Vice President is saying that we followed that process, but I don't believe we did with this. We're trying our best to get us off sanctions. We're trying our best to get our audits current, which is why we wanted 2 different auditing firms. So we appreciate your assistance with that, but I do want to confirm from our secretary that that was just recently done. Thank you.
So I have, did you want to respond to that, Mr. Hart? Did you want to respond to that, Mr. Hart?
Yeah, I'm still in support of this, the 2 audits and doing 2 audits with these funds. And, it sounds like the nationwide RFP didn't go out. I would still like to see the tribe attempt to put that out and get the second firm to do the audit. You know, you can do it for the 24 and 25. Once those two audits are done, then you guys are all sanctions.
I have a lead, vice president and then Jackie.
Thank you. So, sir, I have a question for you. Can these be modded? Modification?
Yes, yes.
So can we mod this?
You can put in the request. Yep.
That doesn't mean it'll be accepted. I mean,
Well,
it's helping
yeah.
us move forward. It makes sense.
So as far as the mod, you're asking to do the same.
Because it feels like we're stuck
Yeah.
on the concurrent audit, right? So if we mod this, because I read the resolution, it says for 2025. If we mod this so that we're not, no, this is how, it doesn't have to be exactly what's in that contract. We can modify that contract, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I just wanted to clarify that, and I do believe our internal processes were followed. I trust our processes. That's what we have in place. We have a financial management manual. We have all those things in place because we're a large business and tribe. So just wanted to make that note that this can be modified, and with hopefully your support, we can continue to move forward because we need to get these audits done, and that's what we're trying to do in good faith. Thank you.
And I'm just trying to follow what the council wanted, was the two separate firms to do these audits.
Correct.
I get what you said.
Yeah, so we're not just going back and forth and arguing, right?
Yep.
We can say, no, we're gonna mod it, we can still get the 200,000 to go with, it's not concurrent. So there's a simple answer there. Thank you.
Jackie.
Yeah, I just want to say that that was council action. And we have people that don't want to follow our actions of council. And the way I read it from the beginning, if we would have just swallowed our egos, just went with the council action, we wouldn't be sitting here today. We would have had we would have been on sanctions. And I just really, if we have to send the money back, we got to send it back, be truthful about it. Because it was for that specific year that we needed to get caught up. And, like we're saying, Vice President saying we need to work together. We haven't worked together. Her. She's never been at these meetings. She's behind the scenes somewhere. She should have been here speaking up then. But, and Anna's right. We asked why we're not getting the auditors replying or trying to put in is because they didn't put it out nationwide. We had other auditors that probably couldn't take it because they're busy, there's just not very much around here. So we needed to open that up, and geez, that was what, last year? And we just got to this point again. If we're gonna modify it, we need to look at getting another firm, not just picking up the same people. They could have done that in the beginning. Why didn't they do that in the beginning? Bring in another team to help. But they didn't. Now they want to. I don't agree with that. And we need to work together. We need to all work on this to get it done. And we've been going to meetings, meeting with BIA, and some people don't want to work with BIA, but we have to. That's where the funding comes from. And we have to work together with our with the BIA because they're the ones giving the funding. We have to comply with all the laws, their guidelines, their CFRs. These are statutes. These are laws that are made in DC that we have to follow. They have to follow in order to get our funding down here for the people, for services. And now this is getting affected. Our programs are getting affected. We can't even get our diabetes program up and going because they won't release that funding because of our audits. And it's really, we visited everybody. We went to DC and, Julianne, you came there too and helped. And you've seen the fight we've been trying with these audits with the funding agency up there. So, I think we just need to move forward and if we're gonna make an amendment to it, then we should, our modification, then we need to look at another firm. come in and help get this done ASAP.
Thank you, Jackie, for those words, and you are absolutely correct. And this is the reason why we requested the regional office. And when we request the regional office is because we believe we're not getting the support in our local office. And so that's why we go further. And if we have to go higher, then we'll go that way as well. But it's a matter of all coming together and working together. But we do have our secretary looking through the motions and having that done. Hold on real quick. And where that was done, she is reviewing all the minutes because she did create a binder for any action that was taken in this committee, and I think that's the best way to do it with committees is having that binder established so we can reference that. And I believe with it being nationally, and if we still are not getting any consideration, what are our next steps? Do we keep requesting for that funding? Those are the issues that we're dealing with. Because I think we're just not hearing that if it was advertised, nobody's applying. We know it's a national issue with auditing, but if we're as a tribe are requesting it the same way I got you, Lyle, everyone else is requesting it, what's our next steps?
For me, I think right now, we need to try to advertise it nationally to see if you guys can get any takers nationally. That would be my recommendation before we go to the next step.
Okay, so I have Jackie, you wanted to respond, and then I have Anna, Tony, then Dave.
Yeah, Chair, I didn't say our local BIA was not working with us. They have been. We've been in those meetings, Sonia and I and a few other councilors, and Dave. We've been sitting up there listening to all even the comptroller was there and the treasurer. And we all worked on, we come out of there with good plans. We're going to do this, we're going to do that, and all of a sudden when we come out of the meeting, it changes up here somewhere. Nobody wants to work with BIA, or even our local is our people. They're our tribal members, and they've been going out of their way to help us get off sanction. They worked hard, and I want to, commend them for that. We got to work together, and our people were put in these positions, and they're well qualified to help us, and they've been doing that. And I want to, I don't want to say that they've been working against us, because they haven't, Chair. You should, come to those meetings, and they laid it down. We'll help you do this, we'll even do your spreadsheets, we'll even, the stuff that we should be doing up here, they're doing for us. So I just want to clarify that.
Yeah, and she has been doing the spreadsheet for not only that, but for the 425s, who's still lacking 425s. There's a couple 425s that was returned because they still needed some more work. So there's still quite a few 425s that are out there that hasn't been submitted to the local office.
Thank you. And, I would like to be invited to those meetings when they are held.
Yeah,
so I do have Anna,
one
Tony,
last thing.
Dave, and Lyle.
Valentina's been working hard with, just like Councilwoman Sears said, that she's been giving TA to these individuals, and I see the documentation, all the work that she's done. So there's been TA given by the local agency.
Maybe it's just a participation in all.
Yeah.
So I still have Anna, Tony, Dave, and Lyle.
Thank you. No, we have 21 council representatives and I believe 19 council representatives on finance. And, from some people's opinions on finances don't reflect other people's opinions on finances. And I don't believe the reason why we called BIA here, regional director here, was to say that our local control is not helping, because they have 100% been very helpful in assisting our tribe, especially our local BIA representatives. They've been providing technical assistance on those 425s. They've notified us what programs were in need of the 425s to be reflective of what the BIA gives us and what our tribe has been giving us. They've been offering technical assistance throughout this entire process with the auditing firms. And so, we do have 100% support from our local government, our local BIA office. We've been working well with Gina, we've been working well with Valentina. They're here when we're needing them to offer questions. They help with our 638 questions and concerns and processes and making sure that we do follow those and adhere to the federal guidelines for funding purposes. And their efforts and cooperation in all of this has been very appreciated. We've been able to get a lot of our programs updated with the 425s with their help. And I believe without their help, we would have already been on Sanction 3. We would have already been in a difficult place without their help and their assistance, because they're also tribal members who care about our tribe, and their efforts and reflection on how they're helping us is because we all care about the Oglala Sioux tribe. We all care about our future, and it's just trying to work together to create something stable for our future of this tribe, because we all have family here, we all have grandchildren here, we all have future here that depend on us to make those decisions for our future. And so when this auditing issues come up and we've requested BIA to help support for the funding for our audits to be run at the same time, they stepped in and they offered us that help. And it should have been done a long time ago. We should have already been caught up, but because of some internal issues, it's been resisted. And so that's why we've had to address it several times, to the point where we've had to, ask repeatedly, like, where is this RFP at? Where is it at? Who's applying? And it's been a little bit frustrating, but the reason why we went to two different independent auditing firms is to provide additional oversight, to provide transparency, just to provide us with updates in regards to getting everything caught up. But I do think our local representatives from BIA offering all the technical assistance they have here. Like I said, there's a few people who on council who do not believe in the BIA, but there are a lot more of us that do believe that BIA has been helping hands. And that's what we need to do at the end of the day, is work together for this tribe. Put aside our differences, because we're all trying to work together to bring solutions for this audit so that we're off of sanctions. And that's what we need to focus on, and we appreciate your presence here. And hopefully we can get those audits with two different firms. I don't believe having the same auditing per firm, wait and wait, like when they could have been done at the same time when we first got the funding, and it should have been done then. However, hopefully we can move forward with that same process. Thank you.
I have Tony, Dave, and Lyle. Tony's behind you.
I'm Tony.
Just introduce yourself for the record.
What you?
Just introduce yourself for the record.
Oh, yeah. Hi, this is Tony Montlow, and I just had a few things to say. I am in agreement with everyone. I would love to see these audits caught up. Next month is August. We will have 24 done. And for the whole month of September, we can say we are not behind in audit. September 30th will hit, we're behind again. But we have, depending on when this council, this governing body approves an auditing firm, I mean, we catch it as the staff. We have no say. We follow the rules here. And we don't want to sit there twiddling our thumbs. I want to see us move on with the next audit. I do have questions, because I will read the law, the CFRs, and they tell me, and we've also had training, and I believe some of you were in that training with Ben Navamsa, who helped write the law of 638. Our 425s are to be accepted by BIA, reconciled at the end of the year. So the numbers that we have of 425s that are sent over
are in process of being sent back. They're wanting Excel spreadsheets or something. Right now, we don't have indirect costs. So are we gonna lie and say, hey, we got this money in October 1 when we should be getting our indirect costs? We have never gotten indirect costs in a timely manner. We're still waiting for 24 second half. We're gonna, are in the fourth quarter of 2026. Do we have to start cutting hours again? Everything in that sanction letter for May 27, 2025, we've met and surpassed. We're gonna have 24 done. We have moved forward as fast as we can with everybody not seeing the same goal. I mean, we constantly try to shame someone, blame someone, belittle someone. That's not what I want to do when I walk out of this place. I want to say that we're caught up. I want the actual log given to me by somebody that says our 425s are corrected and sent back. Can you provide that to us?
I will get with our self-determination at the regional office.
At the regional office, okay. I don't know who is here.
Well, you did not, none of you.
I mean, I have letters from her saying, thank you for correcting that 425 and sending it back, but when I read the law, it says that they will accept. And yes, I understand that those numbers are totally wrong, but if we're not receiving the money and this is back, we're gonna do them to the best of our ability and what's in our system. We're not gonna manipulate and make it look like it fits. Now I have questions. Does anyone have questions for me? Because I asked Chris Witt to come in because we did advertise. You know, it's not for our RFP for the audit. So what do we do next month? Do we sit there and wait? And then again, Mr. Dillon, or was it Davey, Mr. Puyer, one of them pointed out that the last time we were in this way and we were behind audits, this governing board passed a resolution or ordinance saying, BIA, do not give us any money if we're more than one audit behind. So where was BIA when we were 1, then 2? You know, I appreciate the help, and it was a tough time, but we are all have to be accountable for where we are, and we're on the positive side now. Come on, let's shake hands. Let's say, hey, good job done. I don't know. If anyone has questions.
I do have a question, and Anna does have a question. You did bring Mr. Witt here. Can you affirm that it was, that the council requested audits in October when the funding was received?
And as soon as we got that funding, Chuck was advertising, and I don't know, is Chris in here? No. He's on his way over, but I have what was passed, what was signed, when it was awarded, and it doesn't say, I went through the agreement that BIA signed.
Tony, I just have that question.
Okay.
Was it advertised?
Yes.
Nationally?
That I can't tell.
Okay, that's what we need to know.
3 or 4 different places.
Okay, go ahead, Anna.
Thank you. We could get verbatim on confirmation that the property and supply said it was not nationwide. However, Ms. Montlow, you asked us if we had questions for you. So whose fault is it that the tribe is behind on so many audits?
Well, I would say whoever was over the treasurer, because I know personally, I said, when are we going to get our audit? And I was told, Cora was chairman, Jackie was on there, Sonia were on finance, and I said, we approved an auditing firm.
On finance.
Oh, Craig, you were on finance? I don't remember if I...
Jackie and Sonia were.
And Ryan.
Okay.
And Ryan.
Well, I mean, you asked me. Those were the people that oversaw the treasurer. Again, as staff, I can't say you're hired and we're going to do this audit.
But it's us as a tribe are the reason why we're behind on audits. It's not BIA, it's us as our tribe. And, you know, whenever we first started discussing that, we were at least maybe a couple years behind on audits.
4 years
behind on audits.
Right.
Before it became a concern, which is, you know, alarming because we put, like, why are we behind on these audits? They come every year.
Right.
Like, to have them submitted as a tribe, they should have been done every year instead of falling behind.
Right.
And so when we have BIA, we have to ask BIA for help for us to get caught up. It's not their fault, it's our fault as a tribe, and that's something you agree on. And then also my other question to you is who's responsible for completing the 425s?
The accountants.
Because another thing we're told is when Dean Patton was comptroller, he was responsible for them. And then it was the programs were responsible for them. And then now it's the accountants that are responsible for them. And then that is why we had to have BIA provide technical assistance because our numbers weren't matching with the funding that we received. And so that's my two questions on that, because we can't sit here and blame BIA for this and that. We have to also take accountability that we're the reason why we're behind on these audits. And we're the reason why we're in these sanctions. And so we're just trying to get another auditing firm so we're not in that position. Thank you.
Did you want to respond?
No, I agree with Anna.
All right, good.
Okay. I also I know you asked questions, but I believe like maybe Valentina could also respond to some of your questions that you've had as well.
I think that this meeting, we requested the regional director to be present, so we'll keep in line with that. And I want to keep in mind, this is for the amendment, and this has, we're going off track. We're requesting an amendment to the end of year funding for single audit purposes. And it to be ran simultaneously or individually. We're requesting an amendment so we can complete our audits, so we can be completely off sanctions and move forward with the BIA if that's the route we're going to do. So that's what we're here for. And I want to remind the committee that, you know, the finger pointing, the blaming, that we're not working together, we can hash that out internally. But we asked the regional director to be here, and that's what we're asking for.
Okay.
And if it's a motion in here to run it, advertise it nationally in detail, then we'll do that.
Yeah, that's my recommendation.
So, but you'll accept the amendment?
With the two separate firms.
Okay.
Put me on your list.
Okay, I do have a list. So, and I'm gonna ask you all to keep it in line with the end of year one-time funding. I have Dave, Lyle, Craig, Sonia, and Nakora.
Hello, Ray. Been a while.
Yeah.
I've only talked via video mainly.
The ones that go together, FIS.
Yep, yeah. You know, we've had this conversation for quite some time, and when we walked in at the beginning of the administration, we inherited a lot. And since that time, we've been trying to fix it. We've had several meetings with you, over the past 16, 17 months to try to clarify what the issue was, and it all boiled down to the audits. Just last week, we also had federal highways here because we were having the same issue in the transportation department. We've got several programs, one of them being diabetes, money sitting there, we just can't open that program up because of the audits. So it all boils down to one issue. I wanted to say, for some odd reason, I think our financial management manual here within the tribe requires us to put out an RFP for different firms and whatnot every 3 to 4 years. And when we as a tribe came forward and requested the 24 monies, and I thought that was a good idea because we wouldn't have a bias with using one firm all the time. you know, if somebody needs to come in and review our numbers, that's from the outside, and I think it would have been beneficial, and I still think it's gonna be beneficial if we could do that with the 24 money. The plan that has been brought forward wasn't really well explained to us as a committee and as a council. A lot of the stuff we heard, you know, secondhand. But, you know, I also, you know, have been attending the meetings whenever I'm available and have time, and you know, I commend BIA for going above and beyond what they're trying to do, because if we would have ran them simultaneously, we would have been off sanctions altogether. And at one of the first initial meetings, we were actually on level for these sanctions. It wasn't verbally stated, but, you know, on a sidebar meeting, you know, that's exactly where we were at. We were in jeopardy of losing quite a bit. And I think an explanation needs to be made that, you know, the new fiscal year is coming. And Ray, you've been in the system a long time. I know that for a fact. But traditionally, we never get our full funding at the beginning of the fiscal year, and that's out of your hands. You know, that's up to the DC level. Whenever they decide to release them funds, then it trickles down to several different agencies before it hits our agency down here. So we can't put the blame on our existing DIA and our existing regional office, because it's out of their hands also. This whole process, the government process, just takes little time. You know, traditionally, and I used to run the road maintenance program years ago. We usually didn't see money until January sometimes. And as a program manager, I knew that was gonna happen, so I carried a little over until I got full funding. So yeah, the blame should be put on you, because even though the law, whatever it states, is a lot of times not followed. And it's not followed internally here. So I want to thank you guys for putting forth the effort and trying to help us, and I do think we need to stay on track due to the fact that, you know, our financial management manual also requires us to look at outside entities and change things up every now and then. I just want to put that on the record. Thank you.
Thanks. And, you know, like you said, it's an SPIA-wide, you know, we don't get our funding until, we'll maybe have a CR, we don't see that funding until January, so, you know, we're all trying to have that carry over so we can get through those months. Appreciate it, thank you.
Go ahead, Lyle.
Thank you, Chair. Good morning, Mr. Hart. My name is Lyle Weston. I'm the Oglala representative. The thing that I would like to mention, a lot of the council here has basically gone over the whole process that we've been dealing with. And I also want to mirror that the BIA has been here each and every meeting to help us. And they've gone, like was stated before, above and beyond. They came in and gave us classes, literal classes on 425s and how they operate and how you're supposed to do them. You know, literally step by step by step. I want to mention that to you. The other thing is, I want to go back to the original conversation with trying to get an outside firm. And this was requested by council here. And I went into, President Stark comes out, I went into his office myself. And I asked him, how can we get an outside firm? What do I need to do? I said, do I need to, you know, give up my position to get this firm for the people? You know, I've even mentioned it to them now. And they were telling me that they had 4 or 5 different contacts there for an outside firm, you know, to come help us. So right there, it was a big positive in my mind that we could accomplish this. Now, you've been hearing all kinds of stuff about our internal struggles, you know, but whenever those things, like was stated, you know, we get it to a point where we think we have it, you know, figured out. Everybody comes together, says the right things, and does the right things. And whenever it's put into action, it changes. Now, those portions we can't account for, we can't say, or anything like that. But what I can do is, I know the president's office, I asked them to look into outside firms, and they've had suggestions. Now, from that point on, I don't know where they went to, you know, because I asked them if I need to make motions, whatever, on council floor to get this accomplished. You know, I've gone that far myself, you know, to visit with the president's office and all those people in there, and they had a few suggestions, you know, and it was people that were local here too. And I don't know if others were nationwide or not, but that was put out there too, that the nationwide needs to happen. You know, but whenever it goes to property and supply or RFP'd out, we don't know because nobody ever reports back to us. You know, so what all these other council people are saying, you know, we're basically in the dark too. You know, and the internal struggle happens when nobody communicates. You know, like the vice president said a bunch of stuff over there, and I can't account for anything that she says. You know, but what us as a committee does and what as council does, you know, the ones that I attend, those are the things that I can account for. You know, but that's where we're trying to do, you know, to get off of these sanctions. Because I'm a first-term councilman, and like what Councilman Kelly said, there was a lot of things that were just dumped in our lap. I mean, millions and millions of dollars just dumped in our lap. Bills, pay this, pay this, pay this, pay this. And it seems like that's all we've been doing. You know, and then the audits. You know, the previous comptroller, I've asked the question, who's responsible for the audits? And the response that, well, I shouldn't say that because he's no longer here, but COVID happened. COVID happened. You know, but we still have that responsibility. People still had that responsibility. And this was when I was a civilian, you know, that this should have been happening. But when we got in here, the first thing we heard was, fix this. Here's the bills. You know, just like many of the council people have mentioned. You know, so it's been a struggle. You know, and we've been trying and trying and trying, and so has the BIA. Like I stated, they conducted class. You know, so I really commend them also, along with everybody else that has spoken, on how they're trying to help us. So, as far as a nationwide RFP, I don't think it happened. That's where I'll leave it.
Appreciate that. Thank you. I know we, the tribe is going to request technical support. And BIA here, I urge to provide that to you guys, and I think they have been. So I commend the agency and this committee for working together, and I'm hoping that I could bring some of that forth during my detail to work with the tribe, work with the council, and come up with some solutions.
Okay, I still have a list. Craig, Sonia, Cora, then Ryan.
I guess I see things a little different. If we really want to be honest, COVID put kicks in the butt, kicked the BIA in the butt too. for years, we couldn't do anything. No audit firms would come here. No audit firms were even going out during that pandemic. And that's where this all escalated and started. And since then, it's been an uphill battle. And reality is, we have a past treasurer that's under indictment now. And if people would think about it, we would question why wasn't we doing our audits? Because we couldn't get no response. We were told that time and time again. And some of us would go up and actually sit in that office and try to get a response out of him, but we never got one. We would meet with the comptroller then, and he was frustrated as hell because nothing was getting done and was driving him crazy. Because he said, this is going to really affect us down the road, and it's here now today, that effect. And so this isn't something that just fell out of the sky yesterday. This was a long time coming, and there was actions taken to get this done, but it ran into roadblocks. We couldn't even get him to put out a proposal. So that's where this happened. Cora can vouch for that. Ryan was there, you know, and Sonia and Jackie was. We all knew what was going on back then. And my question has always been, is the BIA here to help us or to run roadblocks? Because in the Southwest, if there's an issue, things stop and they get fixed right away. Yet on the Pine Ridge here, it escalates and it escalates until it gets to a crisis, then you've got to show up. And I've been here 26 years, so I know what I'm talking about. This ain't the first time we've been on sanctions. Last time I was on the committee that worked to get us off sanctions, and it took one question, and we were off almost overnight. We're off all the sanctions because the BIA kept telling us, well, you know, if you don't do those 426s, we're not going to give you money. We shouldn't have gave you money. And so I asked, was it 425s? I think it is?
425.
Yeah, 425s. And so when we was having a meeting one day, I asked him, I said, can you show us yours then? Because you've been giving us the money. And you know, at that point, the wheels came off. And within a month or two, we were off high risk. Because they knew they was as much guilty as we were for giving us money when they wasn't supposed to. That was their guidelines. And so I always come back to this because, again, you guys helped create this problem. Let's work together to solve it. And let's quit sanctioning each other. And let's get things back the way they're supposed to be. We're not the bad guys here. I don't think anybody's doing anything to be undercover or to create animosity against the council. We need to work together to get this resolved. And all we're asking for is a little time and to get our indirect money drawn down so we can keep our employees full-time. And if we take off our gloves and really shake hands and work together, we can get this shit done in a hurry. And that's what we should look at. Instead of blaming this person, blaming that person. We know what happened. If you're sitting here and your eyes were open, I know what happened. And I'm not going to lie about it. I have no business lying about it. It isn't going to do me any good to make BS up because other people knows what happened. And I'm telling you what happened. And so, in a good way, we should finish this discussion and move on and get things done. And then the door's open now. We got a guy up there we can actually talk to. We've actually seen you now, so we know what you look like. And so when we need some questions answered, we can get a hold of you.
Sure, yeah.
And that's the best way to resolve things because we keep digging the hole. We're just going to keep going down, 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 and we're not going to get anywhere. So that's my suggestion. Thank you.
All right, yeah, I appreciate that. And yeah, I'm here for whenever you guys need me down here. I'll make every effort to come down if I schedule. I'll make time. But yeah, and I agree. We need to work together and we need to get these audits in so you guys can be off the sanctions.
So just two admin notes. They're selling food outside if you're hungry. The committee is not providing the meal, so it is out of pocket. Also, Mr. Witt is here. He has record. And I just want to give the committee an update before I call any Sonia, Cora, and then Ryan on the audits. The concern was that the RPs were not ran, and there was some confusion, and I believe you should clear that up with what you have on record.
Nationwide.
Right. So initially it was not nationwide.
Okay.
when the RFP for the auditor was first put out, we, I like to stand outside. Okay, when the RFP for the auditor was first put out, we did it locally, we did a Rapid Journal, we did the Pier, and we did Sioux Falls August Leader. And then we also put it online with the President's office and the Secretary's office. And then, so we didn't get a response. So then they had a meeting and they said, well, we want you to do it nationally. So then NOFIA, is how you pronounce it? We did NAOF. Yeah, NAFOA. We did it with them. And then we did native with a Z.com. And then we picked another one out of Denver, and we advertised nationally with them. And then we did get a response. We got one response out of that, and that's kind of where it's at right now.
Okay, so I just wanted to give the committee that update. Thank you for that, Mr. Witt. If you don't mind standing by, just in case there's questions. I got you down there. Sonia, Cora, Ryan, and Honor.
Yeah, thank you, Chair. You know, last Finance Committee, we, actually, Mr. Dillon, Councilman Dillon's the one that said, let's bring all the entities together and get this resolved. So that was coming from Mr. Dillon, Councilman Dillon. So that's why today you're here. You know, and I want to thank you, Mr. Hart, for coming today and listening to our concerns, because it's been a concern. When 2 years ago, when we got in administration, Star comes out, Musso administration, I was shown a letter from his office that a letter was written to President Killer at that time. And DIA was requesting for information on the audits. And when I looked at that, I was thinking, you know, why wasn't we aware of that? I did ask Mr. Killer that. He said, oh no, I never got a letter. Oh yes, you did. It was addressed to you. So this didn't happen during this 2 years ago. This happened during that time. Coming forward, the treasurer shaking her head because she knows that. So this auditing issue has started back then. We can't continue to use COVID as an excuse anymore. You know, people got paid. People got paid PPE to do work during that time. So I'm not going to sit here and act like because COVID was there, we were behind on our audits. People were still responsible for doing our audits upstairs. Even the acting comptroller herself said the treasurer at that time had the letter that he was engagement letter, and never was given to the finance committee or to the council. So we didn't know that either. So a lot of history can go back. And I've been in here too, going on 18 years, just probably long as Mr. Dillon. He's a little bit longer than me. But again, I'm going to say this issue has been there our long time that our tribe has been dealing with these issues. We were in good standing. I remember that. Tribe was always on top of their audits after that last issue in 2004. But now, today, we're behind. We were behind 2019 all the way up to now with what the acting comptroller just mentioned. So we're getting caught up in our audits, which I'm glad that we are, because it's hurting our people. It's hurting the services. It's hurting programs that have to get shut down. So today I'm just going to be honest about that we need to work together to resolve this audit issue and get things moving. I'm not going to sit here and act like I'm going to take that side or this side. I'm going to take the tribe side, and I'm going to make sure that our audits are complete and moving in a direction that they need to move. So today I'm going to say that in this circle, that's what happens. You know, and I think we got to get away from that. It's got to be that we can work together and move forward to address these audits. And so I wanted to share that with you. And I'll say I've been in those meetings along with my colleague here, Councilwoman Sears, Mr. Weston, Mr. Kelly, and others, the treasurer, the president. We've been in those meetings. And we've been addressing these issues since the time that we've been put on sanctions. So again, I just want to say that. I think some of us understand and know that there is things that have to get done. But we have to work together in order to get them done and to draw money down. We're having problems today with our UEI number because we can't draw money down because of that too. You know, so today we're in an issue. Today is our finances, but Councilman Dillon said, let's bring them together and once and for all, let's figure out what we're going to do and resolve this issue. So that's why we're here today to resolve this issue. Now, $200,000 that BIA gave us to do this audit, I think that still needs to happen. And I think we need to move forward and quit playing games. Because council action, that was a resolution that was passed by council. And I can't understand, you know, when the vice president is sitting there talking like this and the president sitting over here, your job is to carry out the actions of the council by constitution. Constitution. When we take action as a council, you two carry out the action. That has to happen. You're going to have to agree, you're going to disagree, it don't matter. That's the Constitution. That always says that. You carry out those orders. And I know that the Vice President is saying internal issue, this is our, yeah, we know that.
Internal control.
Internal controls, we know that. It don't happen all the time. Vice,
It should.
we don't follow.
It should.
Yeah, we should, yes, I agree. But
It's
we
in the
don't.
management
But
manual.
we don't, we don't, we don't. So again, I'm just gonna say that, that's your job to carry out the orders of the council. And my resolution, we passed that. So why are we not following it? So again, that comes back to President. President has been addressing this. He's been with us. He's been trying to address these issues. But again, where has it stopped? What has happened? Like some of them said, we don't have the knowledge of what's going on upstairs. We don't. So they'll tell us, they're going to come to us and tell us, well, we did it this way, we did it that way. Some of us council, we question things in a council chat too. But by God, you know, you should be here at these committee meetings. Should be here when we discuss these items and help us make those decisions. But again, we too can check about that. And I don't appreciate that. We all are in this circle for a reason. And our people put us here, like we said. But we get questioned about that too. So again, $200,000, what are we going to do with it? We're going to give it back to BIA? Or are we going to use it for what they gave it to us? So today we should make that decision.
So the motion would be to have an amendment to the, I just had it here.
I don't think it needs to.
No, it's already done.
Oh, it's already done. So it's already done. It was advertised, it's been advertised nationally. I guess we can extend the advertisement. It was sent to the president's office, the secretary's office for advertisement. So I don't believe we need an amendment to utilize that funding on the 2024. We'll just keep advertising it, hoping somebody will apply. Yeah. Oh, so I have Cora, Ryan, then Donna.
You know, I've told the story 1,000 times, at least. I was chair of finance previously. The treasurer, you know, he's now under indictment. And so we researched deeper because the one question that we kept asking him, because we took action over and over, was to hire an audit firm. Hire an audit firm, we passed it. And the engagement letter was never signed off by him. So we through that whole COVID time period until 2023, after COVID, we still did not have an audit firm. There was one who started right before COVID. I believe they were called RSM. They came, and as soon as the pandemic hit, they lost half their staff, and they said they couldn't come back anymore. So that stopped that audit. And then after he left, then I was appointed as treasurer and I started, and when I first went upstairs to do the assessment of what needed to be done, he had a guy who was representing himself as a CPA who has since been convicted. And he was doing all of the 425s. So the accountants weren't even allowed to do the 425s. So the first thing we had to do was set up training. I believe we had 3 trainings for 425 specifically. 2 from BIA and 1 from Cuba Institute. And then we got a CPA to help us with audit prep, that's Baker Tilly. And we got the audit firm Whitley. It took Whitley almost the first full year to get all of the backup documentation for that first 2020 audit. There was nothing. They had to say, the last audit firm left no working papers, nothing. So they had to start completely over. So since then, we've completed 2020, 2021, 2022, 2023 was in we're at the end of May or beginning of June. They're almost done with the cash accounts, balancing. That should be done probably by Friday. And there's already engagement letters and contracts approved by council for 24 and 25. Because as soon as they finish the cash accounts for 24, they're going to start the cash accounts for 25, while that first team is pulling the samples for the 24 audit. And by the time they're done with the cash accounts, the second team can start pulling the second audit. And the reason we thought that was okay was because the scope of work says for the 2024 audit. It says that on that, I think it's the last page. So that was why we did that. And then council approved Whitley for 2025, so we thought everything was a go. And then I was out last week and all of a sudden I come back on Monday or Tuesday and they said, BIA said they're taking the 200,000 back. But that scope of work says fiscal year audit 2024. So we were planning on using that 200,000 to pay 2024 for that first team, and then we pay for the 2025. Because the sooner we get these done, the sooner I can quit. But we have 425s that are almost complete. We really had a difficult time with those because originally they wanted the current year 425s, but 425s are cumulative. You have to start from the last year that they were done. You can't just skip from 2019 to 2024 because that figures the carryover and what exactly you've spent. And if you don't know what your carryover is or what your shortfall was, then how are you supposed to do 4 years later? So they're doing those 425s, catching up on all of the programs. We have a couple issues with a couple of accountants, but they've been replaced. So we've done so much work in the last 3 years, it's ridiculous. So far, we've done about 6 years of work in the last 3 years. And so whenever the scope of work was done, that it said that 2024 audit.
They are.
Then, excuse me, people of the floor.
I'm going to ask that we remain respectful of each other, and we don't overspeak each other, and we definitely don't speak when someone has the floor. Thank you.
So I believe that we have been working forward, and I believe that scope of work should cover 2024. Even if it's the same audit firm because of how difficult it is to even get an audit firm. To get Whitley, our attorneys in Washington, D.C. had to go out and look for them because nobody would apply. So I think we need to continue our work so we can get it done timely. If we can't do that, then what is the point of even trying so hard?
in the scope of work, it says an additional firm, I believe, right?
But it's an additional team, I mean, what audit firm is going to be? What auditor is going to put their credentials on the line, especially for a tribe like ours, with a reputation like ours? They're going to be honest, they're going to give their honest opinion, they're not gonna lie for us. They're not going to lie for us because that puts their credentials on the line. So whether it's a separate auditor or a separate firm, it shouldn't even matter. We have 2 audits going to be running concurrently by next week. And I think that on your part, you said you would pay for 2024. So that's what we're trying to pay, that's what we were going to use that 200,000 for. And then we would pay for 2025.
According to the scope of work, it says additional audit. Right?
And to be ran concurrent.
Yeah.
So, it's on this top here. So, with that being said, that is why I requested the amendment to utilize that funding.
So if we already have the agreements for 24 and 25 passed by council, because they have been, then does that, we can just put in for an amendment, right, to the scope of work, because you amend scopes of work every day.
Oh, yeah. But, different firm. Yeah, in the scope of work, it says additional.
There has to be a different firm every how many years.
You know, I want to bring this back to the circle. With the goal for everybody in this circle is to complete the audits.
Right.
And I don't know, I don't see the problem with running it concurrent within a separate. I don't think anyone has that issue. We're requesting that amendment be done because it was to be paid for 2024. 2024 is being complete, so that's why I was requesting the amendment. Somewhere along the line, what I'm hearing from all the comments is that there's some belief that somebody's not doing something and can't be pinpointed. We're just saying somebody's not doing something. And so now it's turning into accusations. My goal, our goal, is that we get the support with that one-time end of year funding to complete the audits. That's what we're ultimately trying to do. Whatever someone feels for themselves, that's your personal opinion, and you should address it with those individuals instead of bringing it to the circle, because it causes animosity, the division, and it creates this type of environment. And especially when we have a guest here who is in the position to help us.
And I'm here to help you guys.
Thank you.
So I have Ryan, Don Wright, and then President close it out.
So if you're here to help us, is that okay to make that amendment?
If you guys make that amendment and send it through the local BI or Pine Ridge Agency, well, you want to speak to that?
And remember, BIA is here to help us,
Yep.
not put up roadblocks. And all I've been hearing is BIA is so great, this and that. Let's give them Starbucks. Basically, what we've been saying, and that ain't true. So if you're here to help us make this amendment so we can get that money spent on that firm. Whether it's Whiffley, whether it's whoever. And like they said, I've overheard talk of people, even blaming property and supply. It isn't property and supplies fault that no one's putting in for that, you know what I mean? So it's just, if you're here to help us, help us.
Okay, so in regards to when we do a contract amendment, and with that, the whole reason it was written the way it was to follow within your corrective action plan, to fall in line. We only did what you requested of us. We only met your request via tribal resolution. So therefore, we can't change your guys' resolution. No matter how much you tell us we're not helping you, we cannot change your resolution. It is up to you to change that resolution. And so, in regards to those amendments from tribal council, that's what we need from you, is a tribal council resolution requesting to use those funds for 2024 for an additional auditing firm. You do have an RFP, you do have one who applied, so you'll still be in compliance with your scope of work. That's all you have to do.
And that's all you had to tell us, instead of saying, no, you can't use that, because the scope of work says you have to use additional firm. Because
Never
what was
did
that,
I
long
say,
time
I
ago?
never did say that. No, I did not.
And see, here we go again, every time we talk, we got people over here bickering around.
Come on, it's all point of
You
order.
know, we don't do that when they talk. Huh?
Yes, you do.
You do too.
I'm gonna
And I'm
ask
speaking as a
Lyle,
civilian.
I'm gonna ask Lyle, Sonia, and Jackie to refrain from speaking when someone has the floor. I literally just asked this. If we can not speak, just be respectful of each other.
Committee, whether you listen to me or not, here, echo what the chair says. Let's listen to the people that are talking. I know what you guys have to say is important, but let's wait, give them the respect that they deserve, and you all deserve that too when you have crosstalk or things like that, because it's getting out of hand now. Once again, whether it's your fault or not, you're trying to help the people here, and you have a deficit here. That's what we're trying to figure out here, so let's try to listen to people and get something done here. Thank you.
Go ahead, Ryan. Did you have a motion?
Yeah, I'll motion that.
So the motion is to make the amendment to utilize I'm reading the work breakdown and structure. So the previous was OST resolution number 25-137, approving a request for one-time non-recurrent funding to hire an additional auditing firm to support the tribe's efforts in bringing its single audits concurrent. The additional auditing firm will initiate and perform the task of audit processing. The auditor provides a request for audit samples for testing in order to complete a full financial audit report for the upcoming fiscal year, beginning calendar fiscal year 2024, and moving forward. The finance staff will be led and directed by the Oglala Sioux Tribal Treasurer to fulfill their respective separate duties as they relate to this process. It is anticipated that the calendar fiscal year 2024 single audit will be completed and uploaded to the Federal Audit Clearinghouse by no later than April 2026. The FY 2022 single audit has already been initiated and testing will hopefully begin in fall 2025. FY 2023 will commence soon after the completion and submission of the calendar fiscal. So that's your motion.
Yeah, but Julie, so one thing though, so if I heard Tony and Cora both say 2024 will be submitted by next month, right? Then we're not dealing with it because 2025 won't be due till October what?
September 30th.
So so that money then we'll be caught up and then there's no issue, right?
Right?
So the amendment would be to utilize that funding with 2025.
So
Not
that's
that,
No.
24. All these dates, my apologies.
my question to you is,
There you go.
your indirect costs, do you have a current indirect cost?
Can I answer that?
Sure.
Okay, can I use your? We have 5 indirect cost proposals sitting at IBC. They've been there since March 17th. I could go and check my email and they might be there. We have been working hard to do this. Prior to Cora's administration as treasurer, we didn't even have viewing rights. It was totally strict and locked down. We have had that, we've got it. Now please, BIAs to help us.
I think that's the holdup is the indirect costs rate. And that's negotiated by the tribe and
IBC, and that's where they are. And we have a middle person, Shane Cornell, or Cornell and Associates, and she hasn't heard anything. I usually check on Fridays. Last week, here we are in March. Anything they request, it's a 24-hour turnaround if I can, but we've gotten everything. I do want to make a comment, if you will hear me. next month will be done, we're on timeline to be done with 24 in August and submit it at the clearinghouse. So we have a plan in place, and as of last week at our regular council meeting, I was under the assumption that Whitley had gotten that RFP. I don't know if that's what it is, but that long agreement from the Interior Secretary and the tribe, we've surpassed all of that. I
Once
think
again, excuse me, council, would you give the guests that they're talking, could you let them, give them your full attention? Ask you, please? Thank you.
And as an employee, I don't sit here in our governing board. I can only come and give reports and invite people up. So I would like to see that we just turn around. As soon as we're finishing 24, we're scanning whatever needs to be to Baker Tilly and getting 25 done. So I would like to see that motion just say pay for 24 and keep going, or we advertise, we're gonna be out there for 6 more months.
So I have Don Wright, Sonia, then Lyle. Oh, and Georgette.
Want her to go first?
Okay, go ahead, Georgette.
Your resolution 25-195, which was passed in September 30th, 2025, says, resolution of the Oglala Sioux Tribal Council of the Oglala Sioux Tribe, amending resolution number 25-137 and other actions approving the use of BIA one-time non-recurring year-end funds to obtain an additional auditing firm and instead to use such available funds to obtain services for audit of FY 2024. Why is that not sufficient at this point to ask for that amendment?
Can you read that again from last time?
So 25-195, which was passed in September of 25, says resolution of the Oglala Sioux Tribal Council of the Oglala Sioux Tribe, amending resolution number 25-137, and other actions approving the use of BIA one-time non-recurring year-end funds to obtain an additional auditing firm, and instead to use such available funds to obtain services for audit of FY 2024.
We are already awarded the funds on September 11th, 2025. We didn't get that amended resolution. This is the resolution. Do you want me to answer?
No. We didn't get that resolution that you were referencing. The resolution that we did receive for this packet was 25-137.
It was already awarded prior to this resolution being passed. Do you see what I'm saying? So let me say this. The resolution number 25-137 was submitted to the Bureau of Indian Affairs back in, I think, August. By September 11th, we already awarded the funds to the tribe for the $200,000 for the additional auditing firm for 2024. Therefore, the resolution that was amended, 25-37, wasn't even part of the award that was already given to the tribe. It was after the fact. So therefore, we're not aware of that resolution as amended. Thank you.
Okay, so I believe we can use this resolution and send that to the BIA, correct, Georgette?
That's my question. If we're looking to amend it at this point for 2024, that's what this resolution says. Can we use that to request the amendment?
Send the resolution to the BIA.
Okay, and I will give this to Lynn and she's gonna get it out to the council or the full committee. So, we'll keep moving forward. Don Roy, Sonia Delisle.
Thank you, Chair. I just want to thank you, Colin, for coming. Did you get in this morning?
Yep. Well, I actually came in last night and stayed this afternoon and then I came in to the office.
Thank you for coming down. But, council and the committee, I was going to say we had this money for like 8 months now. I don't know why, we never used it. We brought it to the floor plenty of times, we asked. It's always upstairs, and sometimes you don't get answers from upstairs why they don't do it. But I'm also gonna say this, I remember on March 31st, May 31st, not long believe, I was questioning the former president about the audits. Geez, it started a lot of people start glaring at me and getting mean to me, and after that was a target. Well, you know what? So a month later, I remember Cora took treasurer, and I remember making motions out there to find money for a forensic audit. I made a motion to start the audits then, and that was 3 years ago. But I was just a new councilman at the time, nobody didn't listen to me, but I sure know the audits were an issue then. So, for whatever reason, it's frustrating, because people work at their own pace upstairs. But now it's to the point that it's just ridiculous, we just need to all work together and get it done. If we could work together. So, I just want to thank you for coming down, and you guys let's get it done. Let's work together and get it done. Thank you.
Yes, thank you for that, Don Roy. We'll take the last few comments. If we have the resolution, we'll make sure we get that to you. So I have Sonia and Lyle.
Yeah, mine is, the lawyer already answered.
Oh, okay.
Just listening, we have a lot of discussion, and yeah, there's frustration in the circle. You can clearly hear it today, this morning, because some of us have passed legislation in this circle and hope that it would get moving forward in that manner. But when you talk about internal concerns, issues, it's not followed. And the one thing I want to say is that, we passed a resolution to ask for another auditing firm to work alongside the other auditors so we can get 24 audit done. Didn't happen. But today we heard from the acting comptroller and the treasurer about using the same auditing firm, Whitley, to do our 24 audit. And that's not what we wanted. But that's what they're doing. They're proposing that, they're moving that forward. So that's it, the resolution was not followed. And today we can say, well, we advertised it, we RFP'd it out. We heard from Mr. Chris Witt from Property and Supply, how he advertised it. So we didn't get it out nationwide until just lately. And we haven't heard anything back on that. But we heard BIA's concern this morning about wanting to continue to follow that resolution. But we made an amendment to it, and I think that our attorney just went over it. So again, the $200,000 that we've been talking about in this circle, was not to be used to pay Whitley. It was to pay another auditing firm, but we didn't follow that. So, we need to give the $200,000 back to BIA, because I don't believe that our action was not followed by the council. If there was anything else, boy, this council would have been in an uproar. They would have wanted to know why they did not follow our resolution. But today, it happens to be the way you're hearing it today. So it never was followed. So today, we're going to use another, same with the auditing firm, but we're going to have to pay that auditing firm out of our coffers, out of our budget that we approved. And the tribe is going to take care of 25 audit when it comes due. But IHS's audit is due in June. IHS funding. They told us in DC that, well, IHS is funding, you guys need to have the audit done for them in June. So I'm hoping now we're past that, we're in July. So I really think that the BIA, you've done a lot for us. I will say that. You guys worked hard with us in trying to resolve this auditing issue. But I really think that we need to just give the money back the 200,000 back. And I don't think we should appeal it or ask for it, because you know what, it was not meant for anything else but that. And now today we want to, I expressed a concern, well, why can't we use it for something else? You know, we had a whole list of programs that were asking for help, but then it was denied by the BIA. And, but one thing on there was the CPA. We wanted the CPA to be upstairs to help with a lot of things that we felt could really be helpful in that area. And again, that was, you know, some of our thoughts, but again, it probably won't happen. And so I really think we just need to return the $200,000 back and maybe just rescind that resolution that we passed in September, because it went another direction. And that's where it is today. And I think that, you know, we want to get off of a high risk. That's what, when we say sanctions, we're on high risk. It's actually high risk. So when BIA put us on sanctions, they told us we have this corrective action plan that was put together by the former comptroller, Mr. Dean Patton, that he agreed these things will get done. But he's no longer here, and the acting comptroller was put in there to follow that. And so now today, where we're at today, Mr. Hart, you know, I think you heard us today as to where we're at, and I really think that maybe this 200,000, I don't know if he would allow us to use it for anything else other than the auditing firm. Maybe we, excuse me, but that's not what we said, was that we would pay Whitley to pay him that 200,000, because we did agree to that. We said another auditing firm to work alongside the other one. So if it's going to be to do that, I'm not in support of it. But I think we need to turn around and just return that money to the BIA, because it wasn't followed by resolution anyway. Still have a resolution that was not followed. So I think that's kind of where I think I'm at with it. Thank you.
Thank you for that, Sonia. So I'll end discussion on this. I think Mr. Hart's been standing here long enough. We did pass a resolution 25-195 in September. It is unfortunate that it did not get sent to the BIA. And you know, again, that is on us to review our internal reviews. Internal operations, because it was passed. So it would just be to affirm the resolution 25-195 that was passed unanimously on September 30th tribal council meeting. And I'm not sure why it did not get to the BIA. And you know, we will accept that, but I believe we will continue to move forward with it if that's the will of the committee. So it would be to affirm 25-195, and we can get you that copy before you leave here. Is that what committee would like to do? Say it again?
Copy of that 25?
Yeah, I sent it to Lynn, and I had her forward that email. There's all those amendments and those resolutions in that email as well. Committee?
I just left it out.
And you should have it. So I know Ryan had a motion to make for that amendment, but we already have that amendment. Do you want to affirm that, Ryan, or do you want to resend your motion?
Yeah, affirm it.
Okay, so that's a motion to affirm. Is there a second? To affirm. 25-195. It should have been sent to the BIA. I'm not sure why it was not. A second by Craig. On the motion, and then we'll end discussion.
Dave Kelly,
No.
Anna Halverson,
No.
Lyle Weston,
No voting.
Bolden Whiteman,
Yes.
Craig Dillon,
Yes.
George Dreamer Jr., Norman Standing Soldier,
Yes.
Jackie Sears,
Yeah.
Ty Lunderman, do you want to vote?
What's the vote? What's the motion?
To affirm 25, resolution number 25-195.
We're not voting.
Dominic Olsbeer,
No.
Blaine Blue Thunder,
Yes.
Brian Jumping Eagle, Beef Randall. Oh. 5 yes.
You didn't call me. You didn't call me.
Sonia Little Hawk Weston.
Yeah.
4 yes. 6 no. 3 not voting.
4 yes, 6 no, 3 not voting. The resolution is still there, we'll still get it to you, because we can only resend a resolution at council level. Thank you.
All right. Is that it for me?
I want to say thank you,
All right.
and your introduction to the Oglala Sioux tribe. But we do look forward to working with you and moving forward in a good way. Those words are
Like I said,
true.
you know, just call me and I'll come down and
Yeah,
address whatever issue that's good.
for sure, thank you.
Yep, thanks.
Go ahead.
Thanks, everybody.
Before you leave, I do have two questions. One, are we allowed to request to use those funds for other areas such as like the emergency youth shelter or other programs? And then my second question is, I don't know if you had time to discuss the two buildings that are, those two buildings that are not being used by BI, if our tribe is able to like utilize them.
No, I haven't heard. That's new to me.
Miss Anna, in regards to your question for using those funds for something else, no, that's not. What you can do is submit a new proposal for one-time funding for whatever specific project. With the proposal must come a resolution along with that proposal, okay? So that's the process for that. The buildings, there is, we're working on 3 buildings on demolition, and that is the corner building over here, the old courthouse, and the old jail. And so the superintendent, along with Mr. Martin, and been working together. They did award the president's office a contract regarding the assessments for those buildings in preparation for demolition. Okay, so that's in the works as we speak.
Thank you for clarifying those questions.
Also with that resolution, there's a scope of work in it, but
Go ahead, Ty.
So, that resolution that you're talking about, what's the number on that?
25-195.
20-195, which is?
25-185 reads, Resolution of the Oglala Sioux Tribal Council of the Oglala Sioux Tribe amending Resolution 25-137 and other actions approving the use of the BIA one-time non-reoccurring year-end funds to obtain an additional auditing firm and instead to use the such available funds to obtain services for audit of FY 2024.
Okay, so at the time, apologize for being late, but I didn't understand, which one it was, so I would like to change my vote. I would like to vote on that.
I don't believe that's possible.
Yeah.
You already ran it.
The vote did, it was called, and I apologize, it would still fail with your yes vote. Hold on, it would still fail with your yes
Well, it's
vote.
only because I didn't understand which resolution it was, but.
Right. So,
Yeah.
however, the resolution does still stand. We will get it to the BIA, requesting that amendment until it is amended on full council.
Okay.
Thank you. Go ahead, Anna.
So I do have a motion that we have our finance attorney work on a resolution to request for BIA funding for their year-end funds so that we may utilize them for additional emergency youth shelter funding.
and also I would recommend that you, whatever other requests to put them in now, we could hold on to them until the end of the year, whatever carry over that you do have, or that we do have.
Modify it to also include any additional funds that we may need to be used.
Okay.
In addition to that, there are requests into the Bureau, the agency for one-time funding. EYS is one of those. So there are 638s who did put in their proposals to the agency for year-end funding.
Okay, thank you so
And I
much.
do state it, and include any
Additional programs, requests that we may need.
Okay. So we have a motion, is there a second? Second by Jackie. Georgette, did you get that?
To draft resolution to request BIA year-end funds for additional emergency sheriff funding as well as any other additional program fund request.
For year-end,
Emergency youth shelter,
for BIA year-end.
from the BIA year-end funding.
So do we just state it as year-end funding, not carryover?
Carryover.
What's the second on that? Second.
So, committee, real quick, I'm just gonna give the floor to Ms. Gallego, because he did reach out and ask for a scope of work to be done for the EYS, so this may actually help as well. Go ahead.
I was just letting the chair know that I completed a scope of work on budget for EYS and the resolution. I drafted a resolution for her. I gave it to Kim, but I can email it to you guys too.
Anna Halverson,
Yes.
Dave Kelly, Lyle Weston,
Yes.
Olin Whiteman,
Yes.
Craig Gillen,
Yes.
George Streamer Jr.,
Yes.
Norman Standing Soldier,
Yes.
Jackie Sears, Ty Lunderman,
Yes.
Don Ray Goldsberg,
Yes.
Blaine Little Thunder,
Yes.
Brian Jumping Eagle,
Yes.
Sonia Little Hawk West,
Garfield's here.
or do you want to vote Garfield?
No.
13 yes, 1 not voting.
13 yes, 1 not voting, motion passed. So we're gonna take 10 minutes,
For lunch?
unwind, 20 minutes, unwind, breathe, come back, let's knock out the rest of these agenda items. So please be back at 12:55. They are offering it, should advertise it.
Recording stopped.
Oh.